Hello, everyone. Thank you for being in here. I was asked to do a talk about my experience in Bangladesh, but because what I'm going to talk is mostly about my emotions, I am not an expert in art from Bangladesh at all. So I was invited to go, well, Taslima, thank you so much, Taslima organized it, and Professor Iqbal, the head of the painting department of the Faculty of Fine Arts of Dhaka University. And I went there to teach classical drawing technique. Like Taslima said and said very well, in the West it's becoming, I'm going to push it even further than you, Taslima. I'm a bit more radical. I think it's a disaster what's happening to artistic training in the West. It's awful. And usually, and I've been teaching for many years now, people that studied fine arts, they can learn this much when they go to a drawing course. Total beginners learn like that. And people that studied animation, depends. They can be as bad as fine artists or way up there. Because it was actually in the arts of animation that classical knowledge was preserved, the irony. It was actually the commercial arts that kept classical knowledge. It wasn't the so-called fine arts. The fine arts lost all the finesse. I've been teaching for many years now. I'm a guest lecturer for several fine arts universities around the world because the drawing level is nowadays so bad. We are so inept that no one is hireable. You finish a degree in fine arts, you can't work doing anything because the industry won't take you. You're not good enough for the industry. You might trick a few people with conceptual something, but generally speaking, you have to retrain. And this is what I do. So I was invited to go to Dhaka University to teach drawing. Everybody that paints knows that 90% of painting is drawing. So if you love painting, you draw first. That's where you show the true love for painting. And I was asked to go to Bangladesh. And I initially checked some statistics. I didn't know what to expect. I was very surprised to read that Bangladesh is the least visited country in the world per capita, because it has a huge population, don't forget. So per capita, there is only one tourist for each 7,000 local people. Only one foreigner per 7,000 locals. The months that I spent in Dhaka, I was very upset when I saw another European. I felt so jealous because I thought I was the only one, but I wasn't. I saw another European, disgusting. And then, no, but there were a few that even some people live there, but we are really a minority. It's not something that you encounter on a daily basis. You spend days and days and days and days without seeing anyone from another country. So that means they preserved a very rich, authentic culture that has not been yet diluted by all the influences that come from all other sides of the planet. Of course, that nowadays we all live in the monoculture of the internet. We all live inside Elon Musk's mind. So gradually it's all becoming the same. But I still saw a very, very strong affirmation. Like Taslima was saying, there is a true love for the land. There is a true love for the recent history. Let's not forget, Bangladesh appeared very recently. So there is still a fervor for the nation that you don't see in older countries, of course. I'm from Portugal. Portugal is 1,000 years old. We don't remember what happened during the independence war. We weren't there. But it's too recent in Bangladesh, so it's still alive. And that permeates the arts. I was asked to go and teach the Bargue course, which is now the course I always teach to every student. I'm actually starting not to accept students unless they do the Bargue course first. It's a training of the 19th century that you learn how to draw with super precise proportions just by eye. So you're not allowed to take measurements. God forbid, of course, you don't project. Of course, you don't use the grid and all that nonsense. You really learn how to draw. And this course was initially created for 11-year-old children in the 19th century. This was the level that was expected of an 11, 12, or 13-year-old child when you studied arts. You wouldn't enter any art academy in the 19th century unless you knew how to draw like this first. Nowadays, I teach this to master's students of fine arts and PhD level because they never learned how to draw. This is shocking, but this is the way we're heading in the West. So, when I went to Charukola, the Faculty of Fine Arts, I thought, it's going to be the typical fine arts class. Of course, they can't draw. They're going to be rubbish. That's what I thought. This is my lovely group. I didn't know what to expect. But I've learned that every country is quite different. For example, Southeast Asia taught me a huge lesson on how to be humble, how to be ingenious, persevere, attentive, respectful. Lots of qualities that are very hard to find again in the West. In the West, unfortunately, teaching became like a service. You're getting paid, you do what I say. It's the client that rules. Not in the East. For example, in Indonesia, I even had groups of students. I was teaching a group of 42 students, I think. Yeah. It was, I must tell you, it was easier to teach 42 students than 10 people in the West. Easier. And by the end of the evening, asked for permission to sleep on the floor of the faculty without any beds, without a pillow, without a blanket, without carpets. They asked for permission to sleep on the floor so that they could carry on drawing during the night. The university said no. They were sent home. Some of them live almost 2 hours away. At 6 a.m., when the gates of the university opened, a group of 30 students were already waiting. This is the level that you find in some parts of the world. They're dying to receive knowledge, and they don't take knowledge for granted. They don't have this idiotic mindset. Nowadays, any idiot thinks that they know everything because they can go to Google. Rubbish. And actually in the West, we're losing a lot of craftsmanship, we are losing a lot of knowledge, we are losing a lot of skill, and we are losing relevance, geopolitically speaking. We are losing relevance. The West is finished if we don't change mentality, and quickly. Okay, Asia is coming, Europe is going down.